G'day and welcome back to Semen Retention. I've just come back from a run in the rain. No pain, no game on the Semen Retention game, that's for sure. So basically, we're gonna do something different today. We're gonna have a look at an album that I think was pretty much all of it was inspired by themes that you occur or are about semen retention. And this is none other than the groundbreaking grunge anthemic album Nevermind by Nirvana. So let's start off straight off the bat. Track number 1, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean, if we have a look at like Nirvana's name before we even get into this and the album artwork, the first thing that you see is a baby underwater with its genitals exposed. It's a boy chasing a dollar attached to a fishing line. I think this album straight away is suggesting about the conformity and the brainwashing of human beings ever since they come out of the womb. It actually goes on even further towards in their discography. It kind of develops, a lot more things happen, and the kind of last album, In Utero, is basically the next chapter of this whole kind of theme about reproduction, sex, what it means to fit in, be a sheep, I guess you could say, all these kind of things. So straight off the bat, we start with Smells Like Teen Spirit. Load up on guns, bring your friends, it's fun to lose and to pretend. So basically this whole song, just to summarize it, is about some kind of like NPC sheep that follows all the trends, all that kind of stuff. Basically in the last verse, they're like, and I forget just why I taste, meaning like, what's the point of me having like interpretations? What's the point of me even tasting things? Oh yeah, I guess it makes me smile. I find it hard, it's hard to find. And then in a previous verse, they're also talking about, and I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift, I feel blessed. So pretty much this kind of NPC slave kind of person is not improving at anything. They only have one skill in their life, and as they deteriorate and get older, they only get worse at it. So it's pretty sad to be that person. I would say it's not really 100% related to SR, but I guess it's something kind of similar in regards to like the kind of insights you have. I think Kurt Cobain, for the most of his time in Nirvana, until he met Courtney Love and had a baby, Francis Bean, I reckon he was practicing semen retention. And I'll get into why towards the end of this video. So the next song is In Bloom, Sell the Kids for Food, Weather Changes Mood, Spring is Here Again, Reproductive Glands. So he's talking about, the different seasons, spring being here, in bloom, it's time to reproduce, it's time to, to do the deed. He's the one who likes all our pretty songs, he likes to sing along, and he likes to shoot his gun. I mean, in America, you can shoot guns. That's fine. But in Australia, you can't shoot guns. In UK, you can't shoot guns. But I guess it comes down to what do you think it means? Well, for me personally, I think shoots his gun might be related to something else. Might be related to the fact that maybe he shoots his own gun that lives down there. Okay, but he knows not what it means, what it means when I say he's the one who likes all pretty songs, he likes to sing along, likes to shoot his gun. When I say, yeah, so it kind of goes on. The next verse, we can have some more. Nature is a whore. Bruises on the fruit, tender age in bloom, meaning that, as we kind of grow, this is when we start to practice I guess lower kind of natured things. Not saying reproducing is lower natured, but it's a lot of the time it's not intentional in this kind of reality. If anything, we're just reproducing to create more slaves and people to be manipulated and harvested in the overall kind of mechanics of this matrix. Next song, Come As You Are. As you were, as I wanted to be, as a friend, as an old enemy. Choice is yours, don't be late, take a rest as a friend, as an old memory. Come dosed in mud, blah, blah, blah. This song's probably a little bit more... Kurt Cobain says that the lines in this song are really contradictory. They're like basically a rebuttal to each line, and it's about people and what they are expected to act like. So I guess maybe it's just like he's written this song about people conforming and, not really speaking from the heart. Let's move on from this one. This one doesn't seem that potent. Okay, this one definitely is. This one is Breed. I don't care. I don't care if it's old. I don't mind. I don't have a mind. Get away from your home. I'm afraid ghost. Even if you have, even if you need, I don't mean to stare. We don't have to breed. We could plant a house. We could build a tree. I don't even care. We could have all three, she said. Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit creepy. It's about, someone's attracted to someone. Yeah, like this song's, even with the title of the song, it's called Breed. It's quite self-explanatory. Let's go into next one, Lithium. I'm so happy I found my friends, they're in my head. I'm so ugly, that's okay, because so are you. We broke our mirrors, blah, blah, blah. I'm so lonely, that's okay. I shaved my head and I'm not sad. Funny little side story. And around 2 or 3 months into my semen retention journey, I actually shaved my head just completely, all of it, shaved all my hair. It was just a ritual of removing all my attachments to my former self. And yeah, it definitely helped along the long streak. So if you ever consider going on a long streak and you just feel like you keep falling into old patterns and old habits, shave your head, do something different, see how that goes for you. Yeah, so then here we go. I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet you there, and I don't care. I'm so horny. That's okay. My will is good. There's a lot of themes here that relate to semen retention within this, like horniness and, my will is good. Like there's a lot of double entendres within these lyrics, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, well, the thing that I also realize about Nirvana is that they are a mainstream popular act, and when mainstream popular acts become known, they have essentially signed themselves to the music industry and the higher ups of the music industry that control most industries in the media and print and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much everything. They are to promote certain messages to the public. So if you think about 1991, the message that they were kind of promoting was very much like a promiscuous kind of, open, liberated kind of sexuality. And you can see how that's just become more and more developed as the years and decades have concluded. So Polly wants a cracker. I think I should get off her first. Get off her? What do you want her? What are you doing to Polly? I think she wants some water to put out the blowtorch. That's an interesting one. I think she wants to put out the water to put out the blowtorch. Interesting. Did Kurt Cobain say anything about this? No, he didn't. Isn't me, have a seed, let me clip dirty wings. It's interesting, like, I can't help but be a bit biased when I read some of these lyrics and pinpoint things that have to do with semen retention. Like, isn't me, have a seed. It's about a bird, but he's talking about a seed. But clearly, we're not talking about a relationship between a man and a bird. Like, that's not Usually these things are, they're metaphors for other people. Like I've written a song called Horsey. It wasn't about me and a horse. Um, so yeah, yeah, this one's interesting. I think Polly wants a cracker. Maybe she would like some food. She asked me to untie her. A chase would be nice for maybe a few minutes or something like that. And yeah, it almost sounds kind of like predatory. This song, like Polly wants a cracker. She asked me to untie her. A chase would be nice for a few. Like it seems like yeah. Here we go. Polly says her back hurts. I wonder what that's about. Why does it hurt? She's just as bored as me. She caught me off my guard. Amazes me the will of instinct. Instinct maybe being like urges. Um, Territorial pissings. This song's I actually like this one as far as like just the one-liners in this song. When I was an alien, cultures weren't opinions. That's an amazingly good line for how simple and how little words there are. When was an alien, cultures weren't opinions. Meaning that like we have all these different things. If you think about these days, it's like in Western culture, like especially with the US and in Australia and all that kind of stuff. But in the US, it's like cultures like, for example, let's say MAGA, the Donald Trump kind of movement. If you kind of side with Donald Trump, then you also kind of side with all these different other things. If you sided with Kamala Harris, then you also kind of side with these different things. And to me, it's just so weird how we attach ourselves to this dualistic kind of binary lifestyle perspective where there's only two options, two sides of the coin. It seems really like stupid when you've awakened. And when you're on semen retention, it's one of those things that when you see like cultures, you understand that a culture is just like a cult. It is just an organism. It's a culture. Like you got to make the culture for a bread or a beer. It's like a mold that grows. Yeah. So an organism being a culture is just an idea that grows and influences other microbes and tiny other organisms, being other human beings, to become part of that culture and for it to keep expanding until you literally have a country or a whole planet, which is one culture. And yeah, it's just interesting. That's a really great. It's a great one line. When I was an alien, cultures weren't opinions, meaning that like when he wasn't indoctrinated by humanity, cultures weren't just opinions. I wonder if cultures would even be a thing when you were an alien. Anyway, never met a wise man. If so, it's a woman. That's an interesting one. I don't really know what he means by that. It could be like a kind of feminist, kind of like, empowering lyric, because I know Kurt Cobain definitely, his brand definitely worked for that whole movement as well. Just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not after you. That's a really interesting one. Like I've noticed that in the SR community that people talk about gang stalkers, people that hate you and all that kind of stuff, and it's true. You will be faced with paranoia at times, but then you realize that people are giving you the evil eye. People are kind of intimidated, or they do want to, kind of suss you out. Drain you. This one is the best one on the album in relation to semen retention, and it's probably one of the best songs, if not the best. So, one baby to another says, "I'm lucky to have met you. I don't care what you think unless it is about me." That's such a relationship kind of line, like when you're in a relationship with someone, it's like, especially as a guy, you're just kind of sitting there. It's like maybe you start to express to your girlfriend and you're like, oh, yeah, this and so and this happened. And then like after a while, you're trying to just, let off some steam and stuff. And this is when you're in that kind of beta male kind of mindset where you realize that you should, like when you haven't realized that you shouldn't really express these things to women because it's kind of just, arbitrary and pointless. They lose attraction when you talk about your problems. But, that line, I don't care what you think unless it is about me, is a very, it's not just related to women, but I find that in my own experience, it's like, I found that like when I was like embodying that kind of beta mindset, I would be putting myself in that kind of position where like maybe my partners were getting bored of my problems that I was talking about. And then the next line is, it is now my duty to completely drain you. So, if you think about it, like you imagine like a girl sitting there just being like, I don't care what you think unless it's about me, which is the literal lyric. And then the next thing she says, it is now my duty to completely drain you. Drain you of what? SR, of your seed. I travel through a tube and end up in your infection. It's really funny how visceral and kind of grotesque some of Kurt Cobain's lyrics are. I travel through a tube and end up in your infection. Like, that could go both ways. You could perceive it as a baby traveling through a tube and ending up in an infection, meaning that like they're infected by this love, this person, affection, infection, or it could be I travel through a tube and end up in your infection, meaning a guy going inside the tube and into her infection, which is some issues. And then he says, chew your meat for you, pass it back and forth. I mean, meat could be anything in this. It could be your lips. It could be below the hips. Pass it back forth in passionate kiss from my mouth to yours, I like you. My eyes so dilated, I become your pupil. So like he's so infatuated with who he's with that he becomes her pupil or his pupil, depending on the sides of this story. You taught me everything without a poison apple. It's an interesting one. I wonder if that's related to like Adam and Eve and the original sin. The water is so yellow, I'm a healthy student. Indebted and so grateful, vacuum out the fluids. That one's an interesting one. Chew your meat for you, pass it back and forth in a passionate kiss from my mouth to yours, sloppy lips to lips, you're my vitamins. Vitamins, I mean, if you think about the benefits of SR and all these things inside of you, we reabsorb all these vitamins. If you give the vitamins to a female, she's going to have all your vitamins, all your benefits, and she's going to consume it from you. So, I honestly think Kurt Cobain was tapped into this. I mean, we're talking about a band that was called Nirvana, and we're talking about Nirvana being a Hindu concept, like enlightenment. It just doesn't really make sense that he wouldn't be in on that. And considering the amount of energy, the amount of albums he released within his short lifetime as well. Truth covered, this is Lounge Act, truth covered insecurity, I can't let you smother me. I'd like to, but it couldn't work. Trading off and taking turns, I don't regret a thing. Yeah. Okay, look, there's a bit more that we could probably go into with this, but I'm not going to go too on it for too long. And I think it's probably worthwhile just having a listen to some of your favourite albums and your favourite songs and look at it through the lens of semen retention, and be surprised, if not shocked, by the amount of things that can relate to this practice, that maybe, as they say, the truth was always in plain sight. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Catch up.